Oh, fudge. Does anyone want some? Got nuts in it.
It's got nuts in it indeed. Hey, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Power Up Podcast, a show that takes a look at what's happening in pop culture good, bad, ugly, all that fun stuff, with just the goal of keeping our mind sharp, up to date, all that fun stuff, and just giving my 2 cents on the matter, all that jazz. So, hopefully, you guys enjoy that sort of thing. It's been a while in terms of doing the show again here. But we are here. We are live. Man, today has been a whirlwind. I feel like I almost didn't kind of want to do the show just because my mind's racing. But you know what? I'm sure it'll be good. I'm sure it'll be just fine that we can, just see what's happening in the pop culture sphere. If you enjoy the show, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. If you don't, that's fine too. Feel free to leave a dislike. And I haven't, it just was announced not too long ago. I haven't seen any articles yet, but unfortunately, Bruce Campbell says he is diagnosed with cancer, treatable but not curable. So our prayers are with him and hope that he recovers. I said, hey, if he can beat Spider-Man, he can beat the cancer. So our thoughts and prayers are with him. And yeah, Resident Evil kicking butt. I'm really enjoying it. Hope people are enjoying it too. I think it's probably going to be the game of the year for sure. And yeah, we got some other stuff, some God of War information, and then just some random pop culture news. So let's go ahead and hop into it, shall we? There we go. Coming in hot at Fandom Wire. So the former PlayStation dev says FromSoft has rejected 10 plus studios that pitched a Bloodborne remake, sequel, or spin-off. That's crazy. With Blue Point Games shutting down, the hopes for a Bloodborne remake were dashed for many fans. On top of that, it's being reported that Blue Point Games pitched a remake before closure, via Bloomberg reported this. Brandon Sheffield, director of Necrosoft Games, chimed in on this report on Blue Sky. Oh gosh. He claimed that not only Blue Point Games, but several studios, 10 pluses per him, pitched ideas for a sequel, remake, or spin-off, only to be rejected. So he even said, I could find you 10 companies that have pitched a Bloodborne sequel, spin-off, or remake, including my own. It's just not going to happen unless FromSoft decides they want to do it. This has reignited the debate amongst fans about the revival of Bloodborne, with many theorizing that FromSoft or Sony's refusal has essentially buried this IP. We know that Sony owns the IP for Bloodborne, but it has been claimed that they respect Hidetaka Miyazaki's wishes. Hence, despite Sony's approval, no studio has had the chance to work on Bloodborne, according to Sheffield. Sheffield has previously worked with Sony on PlayStation Vita and PlayStation Mobile era titles. This is the reason his words are being treated with such authority with the community. Fans, especially on PC, have long been clamoring for a PC port, while PlayStation fans want a remake on the PS5. However, keep in mind that it's a bold claim without naming any studios. Additionally, neither Sony nor FromSoft has publicly detailed any internal pitch outcomes. If the reports and Sheffield's statements are to be believed, it's clear that Hidetaka Miyazaki does not want any other studio fingerprints on Bloodborne. Former Sony executive Shuei Yoshida also outlined a similar theory. In a 2024 interview with PC Gamer, Miyazaki highlighted that his team wants to return to Bloodborne. The FromSoft director also hinted that PC players should be able to enjoy the game. Apparently, he said, obviously, as one of the creators of Bloodborne, my personal, pure, honest opinion is I love more players to be able to enjoy it. Not only that, but Miyazaki also stated that the game is beginning to show its age and would need a remake. In such a situation, it can be theorized that FromSoft isn't allowing any other studio to take the reins, waiting for themselves to do it all. Well, there you go. And I know some people were bashing like the original Dark Souls remake for just being awful. I never played any of the Dark Souls. I got Dark Souls 3, and I do have Bloodborne for PS4. But I haven't gotten around to playing it. Every time I try to start up Bloodborne, I just get mad. Because it's just, it's one of those games, one of those salty games, and it just gets you worked up, gets you cheesed, all that fun stuff. But it's all right. It's all right. But it doesn't look like any Bloodborne remake is going to happen anytime soon. Oh, Highguard. Highguard. After 3 months after closing the Game Awards, Highguard is officially shutting down. Ouch. Developer Wildlight says it hasn't been able to attract enough players to the free-to-play shooter. It's officially shutting down. Little over 6 weeks after its high-profile launch, developer Wildlight Entertainment has confirmed. It launched on January 26th, following its bold announcement at the Game Awards in December, but despite initially reaching millions of players, according to its developer, player numbers quickly plummeted, and Wildlight laid off most of its development team the following month. Now the California-based studio has confirmed that Highguard will shut down entirely on March 12th. In an update posted on social media, it said the game has not been able to attract enough players to sustain development long term. One final update will be released this week, it said. Today we're sharing difficult news. We have made the decision to permanently shut down Highguard on March 12th, Wildlight wrote. Since launch, more than 2 million players stepped into Highguard's world. You shared feedback, creative content, and many believed in what we were building. For that, we are deeply grateful. And yet it failed miserably because you weren't listening to the feedback. You didn't care about the feedback. You constantly just have this toxic positivity mindset to where any sort of criticism, whether, good criticism or just criticism of the quote asshole-ish variety, you just ignored. You flat out ignored. And it's not even that impressive to begin with, really. I mean, it's just your basic free-to-play shooter. I honestly think a lot of people are getting tired of these type of games personally. I know I am. I can only speak for myself, but I stopped playing these type of games like once Apex Legend. I played a little bit of it, and then after that, it's like I don't want to. I don't want to bother. Despite the passion and hard work of our team, we have not been able to build a sustainable player base to support the game long term. Servers will remain online until March 12th. We hope you'll jump in with us one more time to show your support and get those final great matches in while we still can. The post continues. The team is excited to release one final game update to enjoy the remaining life of the game. We'll be adding a new warden, a new weapon, count level, progression, and skill trees. Full patch notes are coming, and we're targeting tonight or tomorrow morning for patch release. And I'm assuming that means, and this article was released today. Despite the passion, we already read that. From all of us of Wildlight, thank you for playing, for supporting us, and for being part of Highguard's story. Oh, there was a lot of people involved of Highguard's story. Probably not what you were hoping was going to happen. Highguard was announced with great fanfare at the close. Great fanfare. No, not at all. Just by this douchebag. Highguard was announced with great fanfare at the close of the December's Game Awards, developed by veterans of the hero shooter genre. The game combines FPS mechanics with rideable mounts and raid mechanics, with teams tasked with breaching each other's bases. After a designer claimed that most of the team had been laid off last month, Wildlight subsequently confirmed that it had let go a number of team members while keeping a core group of developers to continue innovating on and supporting the game. According to a Bloomberg report on Highguard's development, gaming giant Tencent had quietly funded Wildlight Entertainment, pretty much from China, and the studio's initial wave of staff cuts came after the conglomerate decided to pull out due to the game's soft launch. The shooter had been in development for several years before it was announced and had a year of post-launch content already revealed before today's shutdown news. Highguard's failure again highlights the validity of the AAA and live service game markets, with the majority of consumers entrenched in big, established forever games like Fortnite and Call of Duty. New launches like Highguard are riskier than ever, especially with the significant investment required to build them. Nah. No, you were just catering to people who are never going to play the game to begin with. That's what the problem is. And amongst other things. But, yeah. The previous most notable failed launch was Sony's Concord, which was shut down 2 weeks after its launch on August 2024, despite significant investment from PlayStation. Again, because you guys don't listen to actual gamers. You don't listen to what people actually want to play. Concord was the greatest thing that ever happened. It's the prime example of showing the gaming industry just how out of touch they are with people. And that really, games like Concord, Highguard, and Veilguard, that are just one big circle jerk, tend to fail and fall flat. And then when you try to weasel in those type of games by just attaching a big name on it, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, and again, Veilguard, and that sort of stuff, Dragon Age Veilguard, doesn't work. I kind of stem it all the way back to The Last of Us Part 2, because they hyped the living shit out of The Last of Us Part 2 and paid to have it win all those awards. Even though ultimately people loved Ghost of Tsushima way better, they thought, well, yeah, we can do this, so now we can do this with many other games. And thankfully, a lot of that did not come into fruition. And it's showcasing to people that they are out of touch and out of time. Just like Shia LaBeouf, who apparently got arrested again after a third battery charge in Mardi Gras altercation. Dear Lord, get your shit together. Shia LaBeouf. Former Disney star Shia LaBeouf is facing renewed legal troubles after being arrested in New Orleans over the weekend on a new charge of simple battery. According to News Fox, the charge marks the third simple battery count. Stemming from an alleged Mardi Gras bar altercation earlier this month. Latest warrant stems from the initial incident after an additional alleged victim came forward. Local outlet WWL Louisiana reported that LaBeouf had been booked on February 17th on 2 counts of simple battery. Police reports allege that the actor shouted homophobic slurs and hit multiple people at a bar after he was asked to leave. According to the Associated Press, authorities said LeBeau dislocated one victim's nose. Oof. At the time, he was released without bond and was seen later that night participating in Mardi Gras celebrations on Bourbon Street. How appropriate. The judge later said she did not have access to the full police report at the time of his release. Dude, I must be mentally tired, dude. Oh my gosh. Apologies. Including allegations that he used racial slurs and struck other patrons with a closed fist. So not only racial slurs, you got homophobic slurs. He's drunk on Bourbon Street. And this female judge apparently just released him because she didn't have the full report. On February 26th, a judge ordered Shia LaBeouf to return to drug and alcohol rehabilitation and set a $1,000 bond, which I'm sure he could easily pay. Additionally, he was ordered to submit to weekly drug tests, including one before leaving the courthouse. Reports say that LaBeouf agreed, and his attorney confirmed that the test did not show illegal substance in his system. The Associated Press reports that after the drug test, Shia LaBeouf posted bond and declined to comment to reporters. No, I won't say a word. He said, God bless you. Leave me alone. Yeah, and here's a rundown of his past troubles. This round of legal troubles is not the first for LaBeouf. The New York Post reported that he had been arrested multiple times for disorderly conduct and that he was seen on a 2017 video making racist comments to police. Additionally, a 2020 lawsuit filed by an ex-girlfriend alleged that the actor was abusive and violent. I have no excuse for my alcoholism or aggression, only rationalization, LaBeouf said in a statement in the New York Times in 2023, adding that he had a history of hurting the people closest to me. In 2021, while preparing for the role of Padre Pio, a late Italian priest who was canonized as a saint in 2002, LaBeouf was moved. I'm going to say LaBeouf and LaBeouf. It's just going to be interchanged constantly. He was confirmed into the church. He was moved to join the Catholic Church, and then he was confirmed into the church in 2024 and expressed interest in becoming a deacon. Well, since his latest arrest, LaBeouf has been denied a request to travel to Rome in March for religious observations, including his father's baptism. According to a February 28th report from Page 6, the actor appears to still be in custody. While another charge now added to the Mardi Gras case, LaBeouf's legal situation remains unresolved as court proceedings continue. The actor, who had publicly acknowledged past struggles with addiction, like math, while I struggle with reading, and aggression while also embracing a renewed religious comment, now faces incredible scrutiny, or increased scrutiny, both inside and outside the courtroom. Whether the latest arrest marks another chapter in a recurring pattern or a turning point in his ongoing efforts at rehabilitation will likely to depend on the outcome of the case and the steps he takes in the months ahead. Nate Wolf Kira says, just passing by before I head on to bed. How far did I get? Oh, in Resident Evil 9. Let's see. We just got into the secret lair or laboratory to get the helicopter keys. So that's where we were at. We fought the big fat guy with Leon, and then once again had to take care of the sister. But we have saved. Oh my gosh, what's the kid's name? Emily? For some reason I'm forgetting the name. Just got out of the Raccoon Police Department. Nice. Well, I'm sure we'll be getting there soon, so it's going to be fun. But yeah, really enjoying the game so far. And we will be continuing Resident Evil 9 tomorrow. We should be. Don't worry, I won't spoil it. Thanks. Although we could start up Mega Man X4 as well. We'll see what happens. I do have that kind of set up. So there you go. More Shia LaBeouf. Arrests the guy. Just can't get his alcoholism and drugs under control. And he always, like, once you started learning about all this crap that he did, he seems like a pompous douchebag. He seems like a pain in the ass. Prepare for trouble and make it double. Ooh. So this came from Fandom Pulse. All right, I'm off. You have a good night. Take care, Nate. Thanks for swinging by. Have a good night, brother. So I'm curious at what this extended. Fandom Pulse, I kind of bounce back and forth between the two. Woke activists accuse gamers of misogyny after balking at rumored female-centric God of War game. So this is the first time I've ever heard of a supposed female-centric God of War game. I don't know who it would be other than, what's her name? Fea? But, like, there's only one God of War, so this makes no sense. So I'm curious to know what exactly this entails. So a now deleted LinkedIn bio from former Sony Interactive Entertainment senior writer Lauren Signorino originally revealed that Sony was working on at least one spin-off for its God of War franchise. Her profile stated that she, quote, helped shape narrative vision and creative directions at Sony Santa Monica Studios for a new franchise within the God of War universe, developing characters, storylines, and original lore that expanded the acclaimed IP. Integrated story with gameplay and world building through scripts and narrative content, collaborating across discipline to deliver emotional-driven experiences for a global audience, contributed to long-term narrative and franchise strategy, she wrote on her now-deleted LinkedIn profile. Oh, so that was kind of like a summary? Okay. Oh, here you go. Nate the Hater. According to this, Apparently, the leaker, Nate the Hater 2, claimed that the company was developing a game, quote, set within a God of War universe, and the lead character would be Freya. I called that. Like, it doesn't make sense. You could have called it anything else, but if you're going to try to slap on God of War Freya or something, it doesn't work because there's literally only one God of War. And that is no longer Ares. Gameplay is said to differ from the Norse God of War games with more of a focus on action. The current plan revealed this year, release first half of 2027, barring any delay, he added. Okay. Freya, or Lefay the Just, was a Jotun warrior and the second wife of Kratos and the mother of Atreus in the God of War Norse saga. I haven't played Ragnarok, so I'm going to guess that's revealed. I mean, I honestly don't care at this point. Before her death, she instructed Kratos to cremate her body. Oh, okay, never mind. That is from the first one, because that's what you do. And then scatter her ashes atop the highest peak of the Nine Realms, which is in Jotunheim, and leads to the events of the 2018 game. And the character was voiced and modeled after Deborah Ann Wall. Following this, numerous gamers balked at the idea of the franchise having a female lead. In response to this, number of woke activists accused them of being the big old M, the capital M, misogynistic. Oh boy, that is a long rant. Long rant. The fact some people are actually mad about Faye possibly being the protagonist in the next God of War project is insane to me, and I feel like it proves what people have been saying for years about misogyny in gaming. Faye isn't just a random side character being forced to the front. She is, because she's not Kratos. Look, I'm sorry. These people do not understand that you can't simply just be like, take any character who you feel is being not promoted enough and just flip-flop them around and think people are going to jump on board with it. Like, oh gosh, fools. They're all fools. Mainly because when you have an entire series called God of War and it stars the God of War, you know, you don't, like, try not to associate yourself with it. Are there games that are successful utilizing titles to pass a good game? I guess you could say so, yeah. Like Metal Gear, was it Revengeance? But you knew that wasn't going to be Snake. And plus, Metal Gear isn't just, it's not called Solid Snake, you know, it's called Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, you know. But I guess you could say the Solid does stand for Solid Snake, so whatever. But let's just hear this. See, I think a lot of people, if this happened long ago before all of this garbage of being like, there's misogyny in gaming, I think no one honestly would care. She defied Odin, protected her people, and set pretty much the entire Norse saga in motion. Yeah, but it happened all off screen. She chose Kratos and raised Atreus. The last two games happened because of her choice, the user wrote. But to some people, none of that matters. It doesn't, because if it did matter, they would have included it. That's the whole point. Doesn't matter how justified she is, how central she is to the lore, how much narrative potential she has. She isn't a grizzly man with a beard, so it's pandering. These are the same people that claim to care about the integrity of a story whilst ignoring the character who's arguably the foundation of it. She is desperately trying to say that the entire story of this other God of War project, the Norse God of War, all of this happened because of her. When you can make that argument, but she wasn't the prime character, it's still Kratos. Like, these people cannot accept this at all. If you want to tell Faye's story, go right ahead and tell it. But don't try to say, like, This is going to be a new God of War, and it's going to star Faye. She's not the God of War. I'm sorry. Unless they really want to go that route and have her kill Kratos. But she's dead. Oh my gosh. These are the same people. Yeah, whatever. These are the same people that claim to care about the integrity of the story whilst ignoring the character who is arguably the foundation. If the rumors are true, I'm personally excited to see it play out and get deeper context from the decision she made before everything unfolded. In response, the user attempted to explain what she meant when she accused Gamer of misogyny. Oh, here we go. So she got a bunch of heat, so then she had to backtrack and explain what she meant. To be clear, I'm also not saying that it's misogynistic to simply prefer to play as a man. It's a nuanced and very intense topic. No, that's exactly what you meant. This is what they always do. Let me be clear. I meant that. Nah, you seemed pretty straightforward when you wrote that. My post is a response to people who do simply take issue with it being a woman and make hateful comments about that. See, and to me, that's you. You got yourself riled up in a frenzy because people said, nah, we don't want that game. And then you got butthurt and then went off. And then when you got heat for it, you had to backtrack and then go, look, I'm just saying, like, you know, my response is to the people who just take an issue just because it's like, dude, no. The reason why you are perceiving these people having an issue being a woman is because she is not the God of War. That's the issue. Oh my gosh. Another individual wrote, as expected, total meltdown across Twitter as the thought of playing a female-led God of War game. Faye is an absolute badass who also gave Kratos his axe and Atreus his bow. Grow up and stop being afraid of women. Oh, this coming from the people who don't even know who women are. Yeah. Yeah, don't try to gaslight us. Another maligned gamers. Anyone moaning about the potential Faye God of War game can suck my balls. In all honesty, you fuckers are all virgins who just aren't happy when a woman is a main character. Faye has insane potential gameplay wise as the MC. Now you probably wanted to be like, you guys claim to like you want women to be more like dominant and more of the main characters, but then you go and make them as manly as possible, thus making no point of having a woman be a main character because you guys are terrified. And the projection always from these people are hilarious. Like, stop being afraid of women. Like, dude, you guys don't even know what a woman is. Whenever a woman is put in predominantly, they have to have the most manly features possible because you guys are probably like secretly gay or something like that. It's always the same gaslighting. Yeah, amount of crying, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we get the idea. So a lot, no, misogynist, blah, blah, blah. While the numerous responses countering these claims, one of the major issues is the fact there's an obvious agenda to not only push feminism that wants to subjugate men, but also to decide further down the slippery slope to where women can become men and vice versa. What did I say? One of the most obvious examples of this agenda is The Last Jedi. Bishop Barron explained that the film has an aggressively feminist ideology that elevated all-conquering female while depicting male characters as bumbling, incompetent, arrogant, and morally compromised. In contrast, the female characters are wise, good, prudent, and courageous. Furthermore, the film replaced Luke Skywalker with Rey. Other examples include the recent release of Ghost of Yote, the 2016 Fat Busters film, Terminator Dark Fate, and the numerous sex swaps in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including Taskmaster, Ghost, Marvel, Ajax, Flag, Smasher, Sprite, and the Ancient One. Then there's just a plugin. But yeah, it's the same thing. I guarantee you all of these people think they saw people complaining about it, but really it was just like, pass, not interested. Why are you sexist? You don't like women. Just stop being afraid of it. It's the same gaslighting over and over and over. Continuing the God of War, according to Tech for Gamers here, the next mainline God of War title returning to roots with gameplay closer to Devil May Cry. Now, is this the same one that's supposedly going to be maybe with Faye? We'll see. God of War franchise has been through one major shakeup in the form of the Norse saga, and it seems another one is around the corner. In addition to newly announced remakes of the Greek trilogy, Santa Monica Studio is currently working on a new mainline title. This game is said to be an action-focused adventure like the Norse titles, but it seems it will feature gameplay similar to Devil May Cry. God of War intense combat was highlighted in the Greek trilogy, so Santa Monica Studios could be eyeing a return to the former. Multiple insiders have recently stated that the next God of War project is described as an action game. The latest report on the matter comes from, again, Nate the Hate, who states that the gameplay will be more action-focused than the Norse title. The statement has been corroborated by insider Nick Baker, and according to his sources, the project has been described as being similar to Devil May Cry. This is interesting since God of War originally took inspiration from Devil May Cry and ultimately offered a more simplified take on the hack and slash formula. I do love me a good hack and slash. Perhaps the most interesting part of these leaks is that God of War's next title is... Okay, so it is tied together. To feature Freya as the lead and playable character. Man, every time it's always around 8:30. I get it. Again, set around the feature of Faye as the lead and playable character. For those who need a refresher, Faye is Kratos' wife for the Norse saga, who also appeared in God of War Ragnarok. Okay, so she does appear in Ragnarok. Well, the arrival of a new series... with the arrival of a new series lead, the next mainline God of War title could prove to be more experimental because Santa Monica Studios eventually revisits Kratos. Some have also speculated whether the action-focused gameplay changes made to Freya's combat will trickle down to the Greek-era remakes announced last month. For context, there was chatter about a new combat system being introduced to those games. However, it appears God of War is heading in a very interesting direction, and according to the report, the game could also be shown off as early as 2026. All right. So there's your God of War updates. I have yet to play Ragnarok. I still kind of want to try to play Ragnarok, but we will at some point, I'm sure. Lots of Resident Evil articles for the remainder of the stream here, with one kind of cool article in terms of like a game. Resident Evil Requiem is being criticized by Japanese players for immersion, breaking censorship. So Resident Evil Requiem has been an absolute blast so far, garnering great reviews and becoming the game with the highest user score on Metacritic. However, in Japan, it is being criticized for removing a key aspect. Capcom has censored all gore in Resident Evil Requiem in Japan, and players are criticizing it as a break in immersion. Oh my gosh. Black textures have censored dismemberment, exploding heads, and general gore. Man. Dude, I feel sorry for the people of Japan. That's ridiculous. Oh, yeah. Wow, that looks terrible if that's actually the case. I've gotten to that part. Wow. The game has been censored in Japan to comply with the region's guidelines that restrict the display of extreme violence. However, doing so removes the immersion of the gameplay. It's amazing how these games... Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that guy gets bit. This looks terrible. Is this for real? This looks terrible. The Japanese version of Requiem, if there's any gore or mutilated body parts, the game puts a black shader-like texture over them. So taking out zombies, well, they are zombies because they're nomming on you, isn't as satisfying or immersive as it normally is. Now fans are calling this out, saying it detracts from the overall game experience. However, given that the regulations strictly prohibit the display of gore, Capcom might not change much. So I hope people figure out how to mod this, or maybe they just get a US copy. This has been the case with previous Resident Evil games in Japan as well. While they also use the black shaders, they mostly feature toned-down violence and cut extreme parts of the game altogether, again, breaking immersion. Oh man, that's terrible. I didn't know about this. I figured there was some censorship, but this? Yeah, they just straight up hide that. Wow. To my Japanese friends out there, I'm sorry. That's terrible. Just mod it. Mod it and hope that someone uncensors everything, because that's bullshit. But here's something. While they're censoring stuff, apparently Capcom removes the Resident Evil 4 remake Enigma DRM after fan backlash over poor performance. Things have been looking better than ever for Capcom following the launch of Resident Evil Requiem. Not only has the game reached incredibly high player count on Steam, but it has also become one of the series' highest related releases. However, Capcom wasn't having such a great time a few weeks back, primarily due to backlash regarding Resident Evil 4 remake after the addition of Enigma DRM. Well, today this DRM has been removed from the game. Woot! Fans reviewed bomb Resident Evil 4 remake soon after the addition of the new DRM, with many complaining about worse performance in the title. My ear just rang. Woo! As seen on SteamDB, Capcom has updated Resident Evil 4 Remake to remove Enigma DRM. It should be noted that this change has come nearly a full month after the anti-tamper service was first added to the title on the 3rd of February. Previously, Capcom replaced De Novo DRM with Enigma, and while many already had their grievances with De Novo, this replacement did little to help the bottom line of Capcom's most popular remake. As a reminder, performance degraded by anywhere between 30 to 50%. Following this update. However, with this change now reverted, Resident Evil 4 should be back in its original state. And generally, Resident Evil 4 Remake performs quite well on PC. The game has sold over 10 million copies since launch, making it one of the series' most popular releases in recent years. Good job. Good job, Capcom. Only took a full month when it should have just never happened to begin with. And like we read in an earlier article, Resident Evil Requiem currently has the highest user score of all time on Metacritic. 3 days after its release, Resident Evil Requiem has become the highest rated game of all time on Metacritic in terms of user score. It has the average score from critic reviews of 88, while the pure platform score fluctuating from 88 to 92. However, its user score, the average score out of 10 submitted by Metacritic users, currently stands at 9.5, making it the highest user score on the entire platform. Only one other game, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which I also need to play, also has a score of 95, but Metacritic's own calculations put Resident Evil Requiem above it, implying the unrounded average put Capcom slightly higher. Other games in Metacritic's top 10 by user scores include Metal Gear Solid, The Witcher 3, Silent Hill 2, Chrono Trigger, and The Last of Us. However, the fact that Disney's Nintendo DS title Cory in the House, which has become something of a meme in recent years, is currently the 3rd greatest video game of all time, according to Metacritic user score, should illustrate how this list is sometimes as indication of popularity or notoriety rather than quality. And this is true. User scores on the site have a habit of skewing heavier to either 10 or 0. The users attempt to make the biggest impact on the overall score. Indeed, despite having the highest rated user score on Metacritic, Resident Evil Requiem also has a number of 0 score from users, including ones who claim to have played it for 22 hours. Why 0? So while Resident Evil Requiem's overall metascore of 88 doesn't triple the site's best games of all time, the top 250 all F scores higher than 90 does at least make it the best game of 2026 in terms of critic reviews, sitting above such titles as Mugenics, Neo 3, and Dragon Quest 7 Reimaged. VGC's review of this calls the game superb but safe, saying when taking in isolation, it's fantastic and it's a genuinely brilliant entry in the mainline series. It still straddles that line between fear and power. While Grace may not have Leon's roundhouse kicks and one-liners, she can always fall back on the Requiem. It's a game designed to challenge you, not pull your last precious hairs from your head unless you try insanity difficulty, which I doubt I will do. Capcom has once again delivered a polished and beautiful Resident Evil game. It's just not quite amongst the very best. Nah, I think it is quite amongst the best. But could it be, considering apparently we're going to get, once again, Resident Evil 1. Another remake. Following the Resident Evil Requiem, excitement for the franchise is at an all-time high. Before Requiem, Capcom already on a roll thanks to the success of the 4 remake, and it's clear that the Japanese giant intends to continue this momentum. New reports from a reliable source now confirms that multiple Resident Evil remakes are being worked on. Among these, one of them is a remake of the very first title of the series. Began its big-budget remake spree with Resident Evil 2, leaving fans of the very first entry longing for similar treatment. As a report by Dust Golem, or I guess that's not him. Oh, yeah, it is. Same insider who confirmed Leon's return in the series' latest release, Resident Evil 1 remake has entered production. The insider notes that this project is anywhere from 4 to 7 years out at the time of writing. For context, Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica are said to be the next 2 remakes for the series. Dust Golem also admitted that there is a possibility that this remake could be canceled early in production, stating that Capcom has a tendency to do so for its projects. Interestingly, this would not be the first time Capcom would remake Resident Evil 1. The original title was already remade over 2 decades ago, but this particular re-release would be a much more ambitious project. Then fans can expect Capcom to utilize the RE engine and give Resident Evil 1 remake the premium treatment if the title does indeed see the light of day. And there you go, folks, with one last one coming to Video Game Chronicles. And that is Scott Pilgrim X Review. So good, it'll punch highlights out of your hair. So there's another beat 'em up, and I actually liked the Scott Pilgrim beat 'em up game. So Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was originally released as a digital-only 360 and PS3 game back in 2010, but was delisted in December of 2014 and became impossible to buy from that point on. For 6 long years, players campaigned to get Ubisoft to resurrect the game, and finally, in January of 2021, it returned on modern platforms with the complete edition. I got it when it was on sale for Switch. All is well with the world. Happy ending, roll credits. Turns out that wasn't the end of the story, however. Those Scott Pilgrim fans weren't aiming high enough. They were too busy petitioning for the return of an old game that didn't consider the possibility of an entirely new one. That's why when it was announced last year that an all-new Scott Pilgrim game was on the way, it came as a complete surprise to many who didn't even realize that was on the table. That all-new game, Scott Pilgrim EX, is now here, and fans will doubtlessly be pleased to hear the developer Tribute Games has created something that's even better than its predecessor. Oh, wow, this is indeed... Okay, I didn't realize it was a review. But for those of you out there who wanted to play the Scott Pilgrim EX, it is out. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at what games came out today. We'll do Game Facts, March 3rd. We got Tenchu, Wrath of Heaven, Armored Core, Formula Front, Red Ninja, End of Honor, Halo Wars, there you go. Sonic and the Black Knight, I heard was terrible. Oh, Way of the Samurai 4. I actually want to get into the Way of the Samurai games. Gundam Breaker 3. Switch came out, there you go. Super Bomberman R, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Scott Pilgrim EX came out, looks like today. And if we want to go beyond into the world, let's take a look at Moby Games. See if anything stands out for us. Army Men 2. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Jungle Storm for Germany. No, Dead Man's Hand. I actually wanted to play Dead Man's Hand. That's pretty funny. Cold Fear for France, Germany, and Italy. THQ acquires Juice Games. How about that? That's pretty cool. United Kingdom gets Lord of the Rings, The Battle for Middle-earth 2. Princess Maker 5. Oh my goodness. Six Flags Fun Park. Some SpongeBob games. Oh, Rock Band. I actually heard that supposedly there's going to be kind of the people from Octane who did Guitar Hero are supposed to be doing a Guitar Hero type game coming back. See how those rhythm games do. Helldivers: A New Hell. Helldivers Limited Edition. Oh, the Netherlands got the Wii U version of the Twilight Princess HD. I actually need to play. I need to continue my Legend of Zelda playing throughs. Falling behind a little bit. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the ones we've got. Awesome. Well, that's all I had for you guys tonight. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Hope you learned some news today. Hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Let's see, is my boy Phoenix still on stream? He is, so we will raid him. Show him some love. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Take care. God bless. More Resident Evil 9 coming. Peace.